If you've been nervous to start canning, I am going to walk you through how to make sure that you stay safe but absolutely successful with water bath canning. Water bath canning is one of the easiest ways to get started putting up shelf-stable food from your family. And by the end of this video, you will not only know how exactly to do it step by step, but you'll know the safety behind it, how to know that your jars are perfectly safe, and if something goes wrong, you'll know exactly how to fix it. Water bath canning is safe for acidic foods, specifically foods that have a 4.6 pH level or lower. So that's going to be things like jams, pickles, jellies, and tomatoes with added acid. So the process is very simple. We fill our jars with the acidic food items. You're going to put them into a large pot of boiling water where they're completely submerged and process them for the time indicated for that specific food. So that's it. We're just using acid and heat plus time in order to make sure all of the bad organisms and bacteria are killed, and then you have got shelf-stable food that is ready to eat and doesn't require any electricity. Super simple. You just pop off the lid and away you go. Now, where there sometimes is a little bit of confusion is when it comes to canning tomatoes, and why even with water bath canning, we are still adding acid to tomatoes and pressure canning. So the reason for this is tomatoes can be safely canned via a pressure canner or a water bath canner, but tomatoes are borderline acidic. So meaning in order to ensure that botulism spores can't grow, the food has to be 4.6 or lower on the pH scale. Well, when it comes to tomatoes, you can't simply go by taste and be like, oh, this tastes acidic. There are too many variants on the soil that the tomato is grown in, growing conditions, how ripe it is at the time of harvest, variety, all of these different things. So in order to make sure that our tomatoes have that 4.6 or lower pH level, we are going to add added acid to the tomato products at the time of canning. That comes in three different forms. It can be vinegar. It needs to be 5% vinegar. All of the canning recipes that are updated and safe and tested are done with the 5% vinegar. Older canning recipes, vinegar used to be standard at 7%. It's now 5%, so you need to make sure you're using updated sources. Another option is citric acid. So you can add citric acid to your tomatoes, as well as lemon or lime juice from concentrate. Now, this is the important part, that it is not fresh lemon juice. It needs to be from concentrate, because when it is from concentrate, then we know it is a straight pH across every single bottle. And because pH is so important, we want to make sure that we're using standardized forms. So that will be added to your tomatoes. And when you do that, you can safely water bath can them. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I'll just pressure can my tomatoes then. Here's the caveat to that. When you are pressure canning your tomatoes, which pressure canning is the way that we are able to can non-acidic foods, if you are pressure canning tomatoes, the shorter time, which is what you see in almost every recipe and canning book, is with the addition of the added acid. Because it is then a higher acidity, the processing time is much less, which is really great because that's going to save us on obviously our time, as well as electricity or gas, whatever your fuel source is, and you don't have to go as long. So you can get a lot more jars canned with that shorter processing time. If you do not add added acid to tomato products and still wish to pressure can them, you have to can them like you were doing soup, which in most cases is going to be at least about 60 minutes, a full hour of processing, versus, depending on if it's tomato sauce or it's raw packed tomatoes, a little variance there in your times, but you're looking at about 20 to 25 minutes of processing time versus an hour when you add the added acid to your tomato products. So I always go that route of adding the acid whenever I'm doing my stewed tomatoes or tomato sauce, even if I'm doing it in the pressure canner and or the water bath. So there's kind of the skinny on adding acid to safely canning tomatoes, which can be done in a water bath canner. You do not need to have a specialized water bath canner in order to start. any large stock pot that is tall enough that you can put your sealed jar of food in, completely submerged by at least 1 inch of water, and with a rack or a homemade version using extra canning bands, works safely. So you do want to make sure that your large stock pot does have a lid and that the lid remains on for the entire processing time. If you don't have a lid that fits your stock pot, because it happens, you can use a cookie sheet. We just want to make sure that we're able to cover the pot during the processing time to ensure that we stay at our correct temperature and we're not evaporating water out during the processing time. So large stock pot, easy way to go. A lot of people do like to actually get a large water bath canner. So you've probably seen these. These are enamelware water bath canners. The nice thing about having an actual water bath canner is you can see this is a really large pot and they come with the canning rack. So this pot is deep enough you're going to be able to put in quart-sized jars, and then when you put them down in the water, you will have lots of space to have that 1 to 2 inch covering of water during the processing time, or you can fit a lot of the smaller jam, jelly, or if you're doing pint-sized jars of different pickling foods in there. The great thing about these is you probably can find them fairly easily at thrift stores, garage sales. You might even have family members who are no longer canning and are happy to pass them along. And these are fairly inexpensive when it comes to cost. Now, one other thing that you can use, which I love, for high acidic water bath canning recipes is a steam canner. So this is an actual steam canner, and you can see there's a smaller reservoir here where the water goes. It still has a rack, and I can definitely fit in my quart-sized jars here, and the lid still goes on. What's nice is these have been approved for any high acidic water bath recipe for a number of years now and went through testing. But because they use less water, obviously, that's going to help on our resources. They get up to temperature faster because you're not trying to boil a huge pot of water, and they're a lot lighter. So these are easier if you're doing a lot of batches during the day and or you have a glass stove top that can't handle a ton of weight. Using a steam canner is going to be less weight than obviously using a stock pot or a large water bath canner. So any of these three are completely safe and approved to use for water bath canning of our high acidic recipes. So aside from your pot, for water bath canning, you really only need a few things. And a lot of these you probably already have in your kitchen. You are going to need a towel. You want to make sure that anytime you are filling your canning jars, which is also something you're going to want to have on hand, that they are setting on a towel when you're putting hot liquids in, so you don't have thermal shock, meaning if you've got a jar that's just sitting on the countertop and you pour something hot in it, you can actually crack your jars. So we want to put those on a towel that's folded over. Same thing when you are done processing, you want to make sure that you're pulling those jars out and putting them on a folded over towel, not the direct countertop, to avoid any type of thermal shock. So we need to have our canning jars. You can use both quart size, pint size, as well as the smaller jelly sizes, but primarily we are not canning in half-gallon or gallon-sized jars. There is a few high fruit juice only recipes that can be done in half-gallon, but all of your pickles, jams, jellies, etc. are going to be in jelly jars, pints, and or quarts, recipe dependent. We do want to make sure that we've got our lids. So it is recommended to use new canning lids if you're using the metal ones, and have new ones each time to ensure that they seal and that the seal holds properly. They do make reusable canning lids. Those are a slightly different system. They're a 2-piece with a rubber gasket and a lid. So we will have links so you can check those out if you like. And then of course our canning bands. We do have to have our canning bands regardless if you're using metal lids or if you're using the 2-piece reusable system. So we always will have our lid, and then you have to put your band on to make sure that that lid stays on and nothing gets in during the processing time, and then it will seal when you pull it out of the canner in order to be shelf stable. A couple of other things that make things much easier when you're canning is going to be your canning funnel. So a funnel is really, really nice to have when you are filling your jars, especially with hot liquid, or if it's like jam or jelly or anything that's kind of chunky, relishes, to make sure everything gets inside the jar and doesn't make a mess on the outside. So funnels are a lifesaver in the kitchen, especially with canning. Now, this is technically not a must-have, but highly recommend. This little handy dandy tool helps you to measure your head space. So it goes to a 1 inch, 3/4, half, and 1/4. This is fabulous. And this end here acts as your debubbler. So when you put your hot contents in the jar, you're gonna run it around the outside. That's gonna get any bubbles out and help make sure that you have an accurate head space. So you could technically use like a knife or a spatula with a ruler if you didn't have one, but this little tool is very inexpensive and I highly recommend having one on hand. And then is a jar lifter. Now, this is just going to save your fingers and your hands and your skin. And so this jar lifter, I like this one because it's spring loaded, so it springs itself back open. So this is when you have your jar prepared of hot food. So you're not touching this hot glass and you're able to take it and put it right into this prepared canner that would have hot water and or steam in it if we're doing steam canning. And then when it's done processing, same thing, super, super hot jar. You can use this, take it out, and then put it on your prepared towel. Oven mitts, things just get slippery, so you can use them, but I highly recommend getting this. It will serve you for years and years to come and is well worth the few extra dollars. One of my favorite resources who also has sponsored this video is Azure Standard, and that is where I get any jars when I'm buying new jars. I love the Azure Standard canning jars. For those who have been canning for a while, you'll know what I mean by this. It's like the thick glass jars that they used to make back in the day when quality items were made. So I love their jars, as well as my acidic ingredients. So this is where I get my vinegar, obviously for doing the tomatoes. I get sugar for making my jams and jellies. They're an excellent resource for all of your pantry and your home preserving needs. And I have a coupon code, which is Melissa15 for any first-time customer on your first $100 or more. So I always like to go through the beginning of the season and make sure that I have got enough canning jars, lids, and that I've got all of my acidic ingredients ready to go. And the other thing is they also have seasonal fresh produce that you can get in bulk. So if your garden doesn't produce this year, or there's some things that you're not growing, but you want to take advantage of in-season prices and preserving them, I usually order about 20 extra pounds of cherries because they're my absolute favorite through Azure Standard and put those up, as well as getting peaches when peach season comes because my little peach tree only produces right now about 5 peaches. So they're a great resource for your supplies as well as produce to preserve and put up. And we'll have the link below this video for you. So quick recap, these are the steps that are really important to make sure that your jars of water bath food turn out safely and nothing goes to waste. So first, you're going to prepare your recipe. In most cases, it's going to be a hot pack, meaning that the jam or the pickling brine, the relish, etc. is hot. So you're going to fill your jar using your handy dandy funnel to the correct headspace. Now, headspace is really important because if it's too much or too little, the jars are not going to exhaust and they can siphon, which means you won't get a good seal. So you're gonna fill your jar to the headspace, then you're gonna take your little debubbling tool and you're gonna run it around the outside to remove any air bubbles. And oftentimes, because air bubbles are removed, that's gonna lower the top of your liquid line or your food line. So you'll remeasure your headspace and add a little bit if needed to get it to the correct headspace. Then we want to take a clean towel and carefully wipe around the rim of our jar to ensure that no food particles or anything is stuck on there and that there is no nick on the glass jar. Then we're going to take our canning lid, place it right on, and then take your canning band and you're going to put that down to fingertip tight. So you're going to use your thumb and 2 fingers to where you meet resistance and then just about a quarter more turn. We don't want to over tighten our bands or you can have lid buckling, which means your seal is compromised and it won't be shelf stable. After that, we're going to take our handy dandy jar lifter And we're going to lift up our jar and put it into our prepared canner on the rack, making sure that the water has been heated to 140 degrees Fahrenheit for raw pack, or 180 degrees Fahrenheit if it's a hot pack, which most water bath recipes are a hot pack, meaning the contents are hot when they're going in the jar and therefore in the canner. You're going to take all of your prepared jars, fill up your canner, and then you're going to bring your water to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, which is boiling. And once it's reached that boil point, then you put your lid on and start your processing time. So after your processing time, which is always indicated by the recipe, then you are going to turn off your burner, remove the lid, and let the jar set for 5 minutes. This helps to reduce siphoning, as well as allowing the jars to slightly cool a little bit so that when you remove them and put them on your prepared towel, that you don't have thermal shock to the air, as well as the siphoning by going from super hot to room temperature extremely fast. Then you're gonna let them sit on the towel and the counter for at least 12 hours completely undisturbed, meaning leave them alone. After the 12 to 24 hours, then you're gonna want to check your seals, and provided that they are sealed, then you can go ahead and put them on the shelf. Water bath canned high acidic foods has a shelf life of about 12 to 18 months in a dark, dry, cool area. So your cupboard or pantry is the perfect place, but it's really best if it's used within the first 12 months. So the seal on water bath canned food is determined by making sure it is not flexing up and down. So after it's went through the processing time and you've had your 12 to 24 hours of cooling undisturbed, you want to push down on the lid in the center. If it flexes, which this clearly flexes, that jar is not sealed. When it is properly sealed, you can push up and down and there is absolutely no flexing. So you know that this jar is properly sealed. Another great tip is to simply take the outside of the canning lid only on a sealed jar and lift up. It should always hold with the full contents of the lid, and then you know it is fully sealed and is safe. So whenever I'm pulling my jars off of the shelf where they've been back there for a while, you can always test it before opening. See, even this jar that's a lot heavier, my seal is staying completely affixed and there is no give. Now, if you have just processed your jars, you're checking your seals and you notice, oh no, this one did not seal. You've got a couple of options. The first is to simply put it in the refrigerator and use it just like you would any open jar of canned food within a week or two. You could put it in the freezer. This works really well for jams and sauces, not so much for pickles, because pickles in the freezer and then thawed are going to be super mushy, and isn't anybody wanting a mushy pickle? Hallelujah, amen. Your other option is, as long as it's been within 24 hours, you can reprocess it. You're gonna need to use a clean jar, a brand new lid, and you're gonna have to bring the contents back up to temperature before you put them in the jar. But that's only within the first 24 hours. You can safely reprocess food if you follow all of those steps. So what happens if you canned your food, put it on the shelf, it was sealed, and then you go to get it down the road and you realize the seal came undone sometime while it was sitting on the shelf? Well, if that ever happens, it's been compromised. We never want to consume that food. We want to make sure that we dispose of it safely. If you open a jar, especially on jams or jellies, but any type of food, and you see that there is mold or there's active bubbles happening, like it's just sitting here on the counter and you're not touching it, and you see bubbles that are moving up and down in the jar, those are all signs that it has been compromised, that something went wrong and there is bacteria or obviously mold growing. And again, we don't want to consume that. Anytime we think that it's been compromised, off odor, off colors, mold, anything like that, we want to make sure that we dispose of it and we're not consuming those products. If you're just getting started with water bath canning, make sure that you click the link in the video description to go to my complete beginner's guide to canning. And You can sign up for our free seasonal home food preservation strategy workshop. It starts April 20th and goes through the 24th, and we are going to be going over all of the ways to do home food preservation together, so you will be set to have a filled pantry by the end of summer of 2026.